Hey, peace and blessings to you. My name is Jerry B. I am the EntreMusician, and so are you. Welcome to the EntreMusician podcast. As you know, this is the space where we concentrate on the mindset, the discipline, and the focus of the EntreMusician. And this podcast episode is no exception. In fact, it's exceptional because we have the opportunity to invite our wonderful friend, EntreMusician extraordinaire, Robbie Cunningham, who is a dynamic singer, incredible recording artist, and producer. And so Robbie, who has been a principal member of the EntreMusician community for about 4 years now, is going to share some of his pro production tips for our audience. So you want to get your notebook out. You want to absolutely take notes. Robbie has worked with the best of the best in the industry. I won't do a lot of name dropping for him, but Bob Baldwin and Patti LaBelle are two names that just come in off of the top of my head. And his production is absolutely, as I said before, exceptional. And so he's going to share some of these jewels, these gems, these diamonds with us so that we can grow and learn together. So I'm not going to add anything more to it. Just watch this. Here we go.
What's up, everybody? This is Robbie, and I'm going to take you through a mini course, if you will, of recording vocals. So let's go upstairs to my home studio, my humble home studio, and let's see what kind of techniques and what kind of things we can explore. All right, boys and girls, the moment is here. So I have been tasked to put together some kind of structured course, project on vocal recording, vocal processing. So this is going to be a multi-layered thing. It may be 3 or 4 different videos because I want to hold your attention as much as possible. So first things first, how do we get from this to this? Very easily done. So how do we get from here to there? So I want to guide you through my process of how I record my vocals. Now, that being said, there are 50 million ways to record your vocal. There are 7 million ways to process your vocal. It's going to be totally different from mine because the tone of your voice is going to be totally different from mine. So later on in the process, we're going to go through EQing and compression. That's going to be the space in where we really dig into how different processing our vocals are going to be. So that said, this is not the be all end all, but for beginners, I'm hoping that it will be a starting point for beginners. For intermediates, maybe there might be 1 or 2 things or processes that you've never tried before that you may want to put in your toolbox. For experts, you may not even want to watch this because you may know everything you need to know. So that said, let's start with this. As a vocalist, I've been in studios before. I obviously have my own studio. And so the main thing, if you are going to a studio or if you are a producer working with a singer, you want to make them as comfortable as possible because of the fact that the singing vocal process is a stressful process. I say that because singing, you have to, the vocal cords have to be relaxed and they have to be all in line and all of that stuff. So you want to make the process as easy as possible for yourself. And also as a producer, you want to make it as easy as possible for the singer. Now, as a singer, what you want to do is what I always advise people to do is constantly drink water, of course. Drink warm water, room temperature water. I often drink tea. I always drink water more than usual. As far as tea, low caffeinated tea, because the caffeine will close up your voice quick. It will dry it out. The other thing I learned recently is that menthol will do the same thing. A lot of us as singers, and I did it for a long time growing up, I would always pop in a Halls or some kind of mint or some kind of candy to kind of thinking that I'm lubricating my voice. And that's, if you think about it as a singer, when you think about it, if you take the Halls and you chew on it an hour before you're supposed to sing, within that process, soon after that, your vocals start to close up because menthol is not good for your vocals. So that being said, and there are thousands of different ways that you can manage your voice or your vocal, because you have to think of it as an instrument. Do that. Think of your voice as an instrument. So getting into the process of recording that instrument, I have my trusted microphone here. And so what I've learned is there are different ways to do this. One way is that you want to get your pop filter. And people do pop filters. Now, how they set up pop filters, some people do it this way. They make a fist from the microphone and then place the filter from that distance. Some people do it differently and place it here. But you'd have to figure that out depending on if you're a strong singer. If you're a loud singer, you may want to kind of back off a little bit. But if you are a soft singer, and if you are a singer whose intonation and tone is very crispy, as I would like to say, you'll hear me say that throughout this course. Your voice is kind of crispy. It's kind of high end. So you may want to kind of back off. I tend to have my mic here, and I tend to put the pop filter about here. And depending on what I'm singing, if I'm getting to a loud part, I may back up a little bit. But when I want to get a bit quiet and intimate and sexy, you want to get close like that. So get your pop filter. The other part, as far as mic technique, a friend of mine taught me this. Shout out to Jim Salomon, Philadelphia. He taught me this, or he shared with me this idea. A lot of times when you sing directly into a microphone, you get all of your voice. You get all of the mouth noises and all of that stuff, and you get all of the crispy noises and the highs and stuff that you may not want. So what you may do is sometimes tilt your head and sing across the side of the microphone. Some people do it differently, and they may lower the microphone so that the voice is here. Some people do this and they may tilt it that way, so towards the voice. But you have to experiment, definitely have to experiment, because like I said, there's thousands of ways to record vocals. and your vocal is totally different from mine. So I don't want you to say, okay, well, Robbie said, let's do it this way. So the other part that I tend to do, especially when I'm doing background vocals. Now that track, I just stacked a whole bunch of background vocals. What I do with background vocals is I'm going to sing the main vocal or whatever. One point about singing vocals, there is something called the proximity effect. The closer you are, the more bass you're going to get in your voice. The farther back, the more of a natural tone you're going to get. So you have to kind of balance that back and forth and find that spot, and then place your pop filter, appropriately to where you sound best. The other part to this, and you probably won't be able to catch this, but when you're getting ready to record, if you're doing this, I'm assuming that a lot of us are going to be doing this from our home studios. After you've gotten the position and all that stuff squared away, now it's time to move over to getting the right level. Find the loudest part of the song and rehearse the loudest part of the song. I have a Focusrite interface, and it glows when, green whenever there's, you probably see that there in the corner. It glows whenever there's a good level. But once it gets loud, it turns red. You may be able to catch that. It's right there at the lower corner. So once it gets loud, you don't want that. So if you're somebody who watches your meters, I would say a good spot to watch when you're singing when watching your meters is to have it touch some of the yellow. Some of it, there's green, there's yellow, and then there's red. So you may want it to kind of, want those hot spots or those high peaks in your voice to kind of peak right at that yellow spot. Usually, technically, that may be around minus 12 dB for all of the technical people. So you might want to maintain your voice from a recording standpoint between 12 and 18. Keep it in that range, because then you're going to be adding processing onto that. So then you want to have some room for all of that stuff. So the last thing that we'll go over today for this is this. Whenever you're stacking your vocals, right? There's something called, like I said, the proximity effect, but then there may be phasing issues. What I did on that track, I think four. I sung each part 4 times. And so what I did was this. I would sing the first part, using my words. I would do the first part straight on, and then I would tilt my head and sing the second part. Then I'd tilt my head and sing the third part, and then I may back up and sing the fourth part. So that each one has some semblance of different texture within it. Even though I'm using my same voice, you want to kind of give it some kind of different texture. And that's what I do when I do background vocals. I'm a background vocal fanatic. I love doing background vocals. So when I'm doing that, first one straight on, second one off to just slightly moving your head slightly off to the right, then slightly off to the left, right? And then maybe the other one back, or maybe you might want to do the other one slightly above the microphone or beneath the microphone. So you want to kind of change up so that you don't get any phasing issues, because once you put all of them once you've recorded all of them, Then you want to get into panning them out. So you want maybe the first two over here, first two here, and then the first two here. So we'll get into all of that in the next video.
Wow. So I know that you've learned a lot. There was probably 1, 2, or 3 refreshers on there that you knew already, but it's good to hear them again. And there were some things that he said that I was like, okay, so when I'm back in the studio, especially when I'm working with vocalists, I'm going to try those things out myself. Again, you want to visit Robbie Cunningham right here at this address. Check him out, contact him. He's completely accessible. He also gives vocal lessons, by the way. Okay, so you want to make sure that you hook up with Robbie and get your production tips on point. That's why we're here. Again, we're here to empower the EntreMusician to raise his or her voice. We do it together. We do it out of love for you. I know that you've enjoyed this. Hopefully you've grown and you will continue to grow. My name is Jerry B. Check us out at theentremusician.com. Get in touch with me as well so that we can have a sit down to see how you can be more involved. I always said, I am the EntreMusician and so are you. Peace and blessings to you. We'll see you next time.